Okay, so buckle up, listeners, because we are diving into a real head scratcher today.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, like, looking up on a quiet night
Mm,
and seeing not just one drone,
yeah.
but like a whole formation of them. And
Wow.
we aren't talking about the little ones.
Right.
You know the ones you see buzzing around parks?
Yeah.
We are talking about car-sized drones
Uh-huh.
flying low and silent
Oh, wow.
over neighborhoods in New Jersey.
Mm.
And they've even been spotted in neighboring states.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Pretty creepy. You bet.
and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
You've given me a whole suitcase full of digital files.
Yeah.
We've got Reddit threads, news articles, and even some social media comments.
It seems like everyone's got a theory,
They do.
from government testing
Yeah.
to
It
aliens.
seems like it.
And the thing is, this isn't just some fringe internet chatter.
No.
You've even included a comment from a local mayor
Yeah.
who's basically challenging the White House
Yeah.
to come and count these mystery drones themselves.
Oh, wow.
So what are we dealing with here? Our
Mhm.
mission for this deep dive is to try and figure out
Okay.
what we can actually say for sure about what's happening
Uh-huh.
in those New Jersey skies.
We need to separate fact from fiction.
Right.
And even more importantly, separate what we know
Yeah.
from what's speculation.
Okay.
That's what makes this so interesting, right?
Absolutely.
A real puzzle
A real puzzle.
to unpack.
Let's start with the sightings.
Okay.
What do we know about when and where these drones have been spotted?
Well, the reports started cropping up around mid-November,
Okay.
primarily in New Jersey,
Uh-huh.
but they stretch as far south as Maryland
Wow.
and north into Connecticut.
So it's pretty widespread. What
Yeah.
are people saying?
Witnesses consistently describe these large,
Yeah.
often silent drones
Uh-huh.
flying low, sometimes in formations over residential areas.
It's unsettling.
Yeah. And perhaps most intriguingly, over critical infrastructure.
You flagged several specific locations, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Picatinny Arsenal.
Okay.
It's a military research facility,
Uh,
and that's a recurring location.
and there are reports from around Trump National Golf Course, too.
Yes, in Bedminster.
And you even highlighted Round Valley Reservoir
Yeah.
and the Naval Weapons Station Earl.
Right?
Those are both key locations, right?
Yeah, they're both key locations where sightings have been concentrated.
The fact we are seeing these drones
Mhm.
near places like military bases and major water sources
Yeah,
is definitely adding to the intrigue.
it
It's
is.
definitely unsettling.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. While you have all these eyewitness accounts
Right.
and local officials expressing concern,
Yeah.
the official response from the government seems
Mhm.
a bit underwhelming.
Well, it's certainly been carefully measured.
Okay.
Both the White House
Uh-huh.
and the FBI have publicly stated that there's no evidence of a national security threat
Okay.
or any foreign involvement.
Mm.
They've even suggested
What?
that a lot of the reported sightings
Uh-huh.
could be misidentified conventional aircraft.
And that's not exactly easing everyone's minds, is it?
Not at all.
No.
You've included some really strong quotes
Okay.
from local officials pushing back against that narrative.
Yeah, like Mayor Sam Morris.
Yes, the one who made that comment about inviting the White House spokesperson,
Right.
he's been particularly vocal
Mm.
about his skepticism of the official explanation.
He's not alone.
Right, he's not.
You've also got Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia.
Yes.
They're both demanding more transparency
Yes.
and resources
Uh-huh.
to investigate the situation.
Right.
They argue that even if these drones aren't a direct threat, the sheer number of sightings
Yeah.
and the unusual behavior
Right.
warrants further investigation.
They have a point.
And it's even become a talking point in the New Jersey governor's race,
Oh, really?
which honestly isn't surprising.
Yeah,
This is the kind of mystery that captures people's imaginations
it is.
and anxieties.
Mhm.
I mean, mysterious drones flying over your neighborhood.
Yeah.
It feels like something out of a science fiction movie.
It definitely taps into that primal fear of the unknown.
It does.
And when you have a void of information,
Yeah.
that's where speculation and conspiracy theories flourish.
Which brings us to those Reddit threads.
Yes.
What are some of the most prominent theories people are tossing around?
Let's start with the one that's perhaps the most intuitive.
Okay.
Given the locations of some of the sightings,
Okay.
foreign surveillance,
Mhm.
some folks are convinced
Yeah.
that these drones are being operated by a foreign government.
Like spying on our military bases.
Yeah, maybe spying on our bases or gathering intelligence on our infrastructure.
But wouldn't that be a pretty bold move?
Mm.
Wouldn't they try to be more discreet?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting
What?
that the Pentagon has explicitly denied any foreign involvement.
So maybe it's not a foreign adversary.
Right.
What about our own government?
Hmm.
Could this be some kind of secret testing program gone rogue? Or maybe just a government agency being a little too careless
It's possible.
about where they're flying their experimental drones?
That's another theory making the rounds. But again, the Pentagon has denied
Okay.
operating these drones.
So if it's not a foreign government
Right.
and it's not our own government,
Yeah.
then who or what is behind these drones?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff on Reddit gets pretty wild.
Oh, there's no shortage of colorful theories out there.
Okay.
But before we dive into the more speculative stuff,
Yeah.
it's important to consider the possibility that at least some of these sightings could be more mundane explanations,
Like what?
like mass hysteria
Wait.
or misidentification.
Hold on. Are you saying people are just seeing things?
Not necessarily,
Oh.
but the FBI has stated that some of the reported drones have turned out to be conventional aircraft,
Really?
particularly at night
Ah.
or in poor visibility. Remember Senator Andy Kim from New Jersey?
Right.
He initially claimed he'd filmed these mystery drones, but
Okay.
later admitted it was just a bunch of planes.
After checking with some pilots.
Yeah, after checking with pilots.
But some of the eyewitness accounts
Yeah,
are pretty detailed.
I know.
People are describing these drones hovering and maneuvering in ways that conventional aircraft just can't.
That's true. And that's what makes this whole thing so perplexing.
It is.
It's hard to dismiss all of the reports
Yeah.
as simple misidentification,
Right.
especially when you have multiple credible witnesses describing similar unusual behavior.
So we've got a real mystery on our hands.
We do.
We've ruled out a couple of the obvious possibilities.
Yeah,
But we're still no closer to understanding
right.
who's behind these drones or what their purpose is.
It's true.
This is where it gets really interesting.
It's like we're piecing together a puzzle,
Yeah.
but we're missing some crucial pieces.
Uh-huh.
And those missing pieces are fueling a lot of speculation.
Okay, so let's examine
Yeah.
some of the most popular theories circulating on Reddit,
All right.
keeping in mind that these are just theories,
Of course.
not proven facts.
Right. One theory that's particularly intriguing is the idea of red teaming.
Red teaming.
It's a type of security exercise
okay.
where a group, often working for the government
Right.
or a private security firm,
Okay.
simulates a real-world threat
Yeah.
to test an organization's defenses
Okay.
and response capabilities.
So are we saying that someone could be intentionally
Yeah.
flying these drones around to see how the government reacts?
Exactly.
Like a dress rehearsal for something bigger?
That's the essence of the theory. And there are some details in the source material that lend it some credibility.
Like what?
Well, during a legislative meeting
Uh-huh.
about the drones,
Okay.
experts pointed out flaws
Yeah.
in existing drone regulations and argued for changes to allow for a more robust response.
It's almost as if they were using this situation
Yeah.
as a case study,
Right.
a real-time demonstration of the vulnerabilities in our current drone defense systems.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, look, this is what could happen
Right.
if we don't take drone security more seriously.
Exactly.
But if that's the case,
Yeah.
why all the secrecy? Why not just come out and say, it's a red teaming exercise?
If you think about it,
Yeah.
publicly revealing a red teaming operation would defeat the purpose.
Okay.
The goal is to see
Yeah.
how the government, law enforcement, and even the public react in a real-world scenario.
Okay.
And that includes dealing with uncertainty and limited information.
So in a way,
Yeah.
they're testing our ability to think critically
Right?
and separate fact from fiction.
Exactly.
That's like we're doing right now, which honestly is a little unsettling.
It is a good point.
Yeah.
It raises questions about transparency and accountability,
Right.
even if the intention is to improve security.
Yeah.
How do you balance that with the potential for public anxiety
Right.
and distrust?
Yeah. When people feel like they're being kept in the dark.
Yes.
And let's not forget, there's also the possibility.
Right.
This is something completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Something we haven't even considered.
Yeah.
A new player on the world stage.
It's possible.
Or a technology we haven't even imagined.
Absolutely. We have to be open to that possibility.
You do.
That the explanation lies outside our current frame of reference.
But even if that's the case, all those eyewitness accounts and expert opinions give us some valuable data points.
They do.
You've even highlighted reports from law enforcement officials who are seeing these things too.
That's right.
Sheriff's departments, even the Coast Guard are getting involved.
They are.
It's not just concerned citizens calling this in.
The Monmouth County Sheriff's Office even created a drone density map.
Oh, wow.
Based on reported sightings
to
try and track the patterns of these flights.
And they're using their own drones to investigate?
They are.
It's like we've stumbled into a real-life episode of The X-Files. Unidentified objects in the sky. Government agencies being tight-lipped. Local officials demanding answers.
It's all a bit unsettling.
It is.
But what's fascinating is that even law enforcement seems to be struggling to get clear answers. This suggests that whoever is behind these drones is operating with a level of sophistication that's managed to evade even our current surveillance capabilities.
It raises some serious questions
It does.
about our vulnerability in this new age of drone technology.
It does.
If we can't even identify who's flying these things in our own airspace, what does that say about our ability to defend against potential threats?
It's a valid concern. And it's one that's being echoed by several politicians who are calling for stronger drone regulations and greater investment in drone defense technologies.
Like Congressman Jeff Van Drew.
Yes.
He's been quite vocal
Yeah.
about the need to update our legal framework
Right.
to deal with these kinds of incidents. But he's also the one who's suggested that the drones might be coming from an Iranian mothership off the coast.
Oh, yeah.
A theory the Pentagon has already debunked. So it seems like even the official responses are a bit of a mixed bag.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we need to be critical of all sources of information, even those coming from elected officials.
Right.
We have to evaluate the evidence, consider the biases,
Okay.
and form our own judgments.
Okay, so it seems like we're facing a real challenge here.
We are.
We have these drones.
Yeah.
We don't know who's flying them or why.
Right.
And our current legal framework and defense capabilities may not be sufficient to address the threat. What are some of the solutions being proposed? What can be done to address these concerns about drone security and privacy?
There are several avenues being explored. On the technological front, there's a push for the development and deployment of more sophisticated drone detection systems.
So like systems that can identify drones even when they're flying without transponders.
Right.
Or with their lights off.
Yeah, basically making them invisible on conventional radar.
So giving authorities the ability to see these stealthy drones even at night or in difficult conditions.
Exactly.
But what happens once you've detected them?
Right.
You can't exactly send a police car up to pull them over.
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
There are ongoing efforts to develop what are called counter-drone technologies.
Okay.
These are systems designed to disable or neutralize unauthorized drones without resorting to lethal force.
Okay, now we're talking... What kind of technologies are we talking about here? Are we talking laser beams and electromagnetic pulses?
Not quite that dramatic.
Like something out of a sci-fi movie?
But there are some pretty innovative solutions being tested.
Okay, like what?
One approach is radio frequency jamming, which basically overloads the drone's communication systems, disrupting its control signals and forcing it to land.
So it's like cutting the strings on a puppet.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see how that would be effective. And there's also GPS spoofing, which involves sending false GPS signals to the drone, tricking it into thinking it's somewhere else.
Exactly.
And causing it to deviate from its course. Clever.
It is.
And I've also read about nets that can capture drones in mid-flight.
That's another option.
Okay.
Particularly for smaller drones. Imagine a net launched from another drone, or even from the ground, that can entangle the target drone and bring it down safely.
It sounds like we're entering a whole new era.
We are.
Of aerial cat and mouse games. But technology is only part of the solution, right?
Absolutely.
We also need to address the legal and ethical aspects of drone use.
We do. There's a growing consensus that we need to update existing laws and regulations to reflect the evolving nature of drone technology.
This includes things like stricter licensing requirements for drone operators, clearer guidelines on where drones can and cannot be flown, and stronger penalties.
Of course.
For those who violate those rules.
Imagine a tiered licensing system. Where the requirements and restrictions increase based on the size and capabilities of the drone, the intended purpose of the flight, and the proximity to sensitive areas.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
You'd need more stringent requirements for someone flying a large drone. Equipped with a high-resolution camera near a military base.
Exactly.
Than for someone flying a small toy drone in their backyard. And we might even see the creation of designated drone flight zones, similar to what we have for model airplanes.
Exactly.
These would be areas where drone flights are permitted under specific conditions, helping to minimize conflicts with manned aircraft and protect areas where drones pose a particular risk.
It makes sense.
What are the privacy concerns?
Right.
We've touched on this briefly.
Yeah.
But it's worth digging into a bit deeper.
Okay.
How do we ensure that drone use doesn't infringe on people's right to privacy?
That's one of the most complex and contentious aspects of the drone debate. There's a lot of discussion about legislation that would require drone operators to obtain consent before collecting data about individuals. Or at least to de-identify that data to protect people's anonymity.
So basically establishing rules of the road for drones. Similar to what we have for other technologies. That collect personal information.
Exactly.
But how do you enforce those rules? How do you monitor all these drones and ensure that they're not being used for surveillance without consent?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
It's going to require a combination of technological solutions, legal frameworks, and public awareness.
So we need better tools to detect and track drones.
Yes.
Clearer laws to define what constitutes a violation of privacy. And public education campaigns.
Exactly.
To raise awareness of the risks. And how to protect yourself.
That's right.
So it's a multifaceted challenge.
It is.
And this New Jersey drone mystery is really bringing all of these issues to the forefront.
It is.
It's like a wake-up call. That we need to be having these conversations now.
We do.
Before drone technology gets even more advanced and widespread.
Exactly. We're at a pivotal moment.
We are.
Decisions we make now about how to regulate and integrate drone technology into our society will have far-reaching consequences.
They will.
And the New Jersey drone mystery, regardless of its ultimate explanation, is serving as a catalyst for those conversations.
You mentioned earlier
I did.
That you flagged some specific locations where these drones have been sighted. Let's delve into those a bit further. You mentioned Round Valley Reservoir, a major water source for the region, and the Naval Weapons Station Earl. What makes those locations particularly significant?
Well, these locations tap into a specific fear. The vulnerability of critical infrastructure. The Round Valley Reservoir, being a source of drinking water for millions of people, raises concerns about the potential for disruption or even sabotage.
Is someone assessing these sites for weaknesses?
It's possible.
Or is it something more benign?
We don't know.
And then you have the Naval Weapons Station. A military installation. The idea of unidentified drones lurking around a place like that is bound to raise some eyebrows. Is this some kind of reconnaissance mission by a foreign power? A test of our defenses?
Possibly.
By a non-state actor?
Maybe.
Or are they just pushing boundaries?
Could be.
Testing the limits of what they can get away with.
It's like we're in a spy thriller.
It is.
The lack of clear answers just fuels the imagination.
And that lack of information is precisely what's contributing to the anxiety and distrust surrounding this mystery.
Exactly.
People are left to wonder, are we safe? Are our critical resources protected? Who's watching us from the sky? And what are their intentions?
It's not just about physical security either.
No.
It's about that creeping feeling that someone somewhere might be watching us recording us, collecting data about our lives without our knowledge or consent.
You've hit on a key point.
I think I have.
These drone sightings,
Yeah.
regardless of their explanation, force us to confront the reality. That surveillance technology is becoming increasingly pervasive and accessible.
That's true.
And that raises some fundamental questions.
It does.
About what it means to live in a society where privacy is becoming more and more difficult to maintain.
It's a question that's becoming increasingly relevant.
It is.
Not just with drones, but with all sorts of emerging technologies.
Like what?
Facial recognition software, data tracking, social media monitoring.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
So how do we navigate this new reality?
Right.
How do we address these anxieties without stifling innovation or resorting to overly restrictive measures?
It's a tricky balance.
It is.
And I think the key lies in transparency and dialogue.
Yeah.
We need to have open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of drone technology. And we need to involve the public in those conversations.
Okay.
We need to give people a voice in shaping the future of this technology. So it doesn't feel like something that's being imposed upon them from above.
It's about building trust and understanding.
Yeah.
Not just between the government and the public, but also between the tech industry and the communities that will be most affected.
That's true.
By these advancements.
Exactly. We need to move away from this us versus them mentality and recognize that we're all in this together. We're all stakeholders in this new technological landscape.
And that brings us back to the source material you've provided. You've included some really insightful articles and reports.
I try to.
That delve into the potential legal and ethical frameworks we could adopt to address these challenges.
Exactly.
There's a lot of talk about stricter regulations for drone operators, clearer guidelines for data collection and privacy, even the development of new technologies to detect and mitigate potential threat.
It's encouraging
to
see that these conversations are happening. And I think the New Jersey drone mystery is serving as a catalyst, pushing those conversations forward and highlighting the urgency of finding solutions.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned earlier that even law enforcement is struggling to get clear answers about these drones. And that raises another important question. Who's ultimately responsible for investigating and addressing these kinds of incidents?
That's a key point. Right now, it seems like there's a bit of a jurisdictional gray area.
What do you mean?
Well, the FAA has authority over airspace. But their primary focus is on safety and air traffic control. The FBI gets involved when there's a potential threat to national security. But they don't have the resources or the mandate to investigate every drone sighting.
Because it can't be everywhere. And then you have local law enforcement agencies who often lack the technology and the legal authority to effectively deal with these situations. So it sounds like we need a more coordinated approach, a clearer division of responsibilities, and perhaps even a new agency.
It's possible.
Specifically dedicated to drone oversight and enforcement.
It's certainly an option worth considering. As drone technology continues to advance and proliferate, we need to ensure that our regulatory and enforcement mechanisms keep pace. We can't afford to be playing catch-up when it comes to the safety, security, and privacy implications of this technology.
Okay, so we've explored the mystery, the anxiety, the potential solutions, and even the bureaucratic challenges.
We have.
But there's one thing we haven't really talked about, and it's perhaps the most fundamental question of all.
Okay, what's that?
Why?
Why what?
If these drones are really part of some coordinated effort, be it government, corporate, or something else, what's the motive?
What are they trying to achieve?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And unfortunately, we don't have a definitive answer.
No, we don't.
We can speculate. We can analyze the evidence. But until we have more information, the true motive remains elusive.
And that's what makes this so compelling, right?
It does.
So frustrating.
And so unsettling all at the same time.
It's true.
We're left with this nagging sense of uncertainty. This feeling that there are forces at work that we don't fully understand.
It's a reminder that we don't have all the answers.
It is.
And that sometimes the most important questions are the ones that remain unanswered.
We've been focusing a lot on like the technical and political aspects of this mystery.
Right.
But I think it's important to acknowledge the human element.
What do you mean?
These aren't just abstract dots on a map or blips on a radar screen. These drones are flying over real communities.
They are.
And these sightings are having a very real impact on people's lives.
You're absolutely right. It's easy to get caught up in the technical details and the policy implications.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this is about people.
It is.
It's about the folks in New Jersey and the surrounding states who are looking up at night and seeing these things in the sky, wondering what they are, where they came from, and what they might mean.
And you've included some really powerful quotes.
I have.
From residents in the source material.
I try to.
People are talking about feeling uneasy, vulnerable, even frightened.
It's understandable.
It's disrupting their sleep, making them think twice about letting their kids play outside.
It's a natural reaction when people feel like their safety or their privacy is being violated.
Right.
It creates a sense of anxiety and unease, and the lack of clear answers, the conflicting messages from authorities just amplifies that unease.
It's like that classic horror movie trope.
Oh, yeah.
Where the unseen threat is always the most terrifying. You don't know what's out there.
Right.
You don't know what it wants. And that uncertainty can be incredibly unsettling.
It's that primal fear of the unknown.
Right.
And in this case, the unknown takes the form of these silent hovering machines in the sky.
Right.
It's easy to see why people are feeling unnerved.
And it's fascinating that even the folks who are skeptical, the ones who think it's all just overblown hype or misidentified objects, even they're acknowledging that this is creating a sense of unease.
It's true.
In their communities. It's like this collective anxiety that's settling over the region.
It's a reminder that the perception of a threat can be just as powerful as the threat itself.
That's interesting.
Even if these drones turn out to be perfectly harmless, the fact that they're triggering this fear and anxiety is significant.
It is.
It tells us something about our relationship with technology, about our sense of security and privacy, in a world where surveillance is becoming increasingly pervasive.
So how do we navigate this new reality?
Right.
How do we address these anxieties without stifling innovation or resorting to overly restrictive measures?
It's a tricky balance.
It is.
And I think the key lies in transparency and dialogue. We need to have open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of drone technology.
Right.
And we need to involve the public in those conversations.
So give people a voice.
Yes.
In shaping the future of this technology so it doesn't feel like it's being imposed on them from above.
It's about building trust and understanding.
Between the government and the public. But also between the tech industry.
Right.
And the communities that will be affected.
It's true.
By these advancements.
It's encouraging to see that these conversations are happening. And I think the New Jersey drone mystery is serving as a catalyst.
Right.
Pushing those conversations forward. And highlighting the urgency of finding solutions.
So to our listeners, as you continue to explore these sources, keep in mind that the answers may not be clear-cut.
That's true.
But the process of questioning. Of seeking understanding is valuable in itself.
It is.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one
to
uncover the missing piece of the puzzle, to shed light on the true motive behind this enigmatic aerial ballet.
It's possible.
Until then, keep looking up.
Keep
asking questions. And stay curious.